Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Stark Space. I'm a first timer at hosting this. I'm sure you'll forgive me. With us today is Eddie from the Space Shards team, specifically talking to us about the Nimbora project and application. Eddie, maybe you can start with introducing yourself and what you do.
Sure, sounds good. So yeah, thanks. So I think you will be good. So you're good in these things. So you'll be fine. So yeah, just a short intro. I mean, I was on space with Luis like last time. So basically, can like do a short one. I was a core dev in Ethereum Foundation back in the day in Solidity team, and then 3 years ago decided to switch to Starknet to start building here. Basically, got Starkpiled and so on. And on Starknet, we are building a bunch of stuff from DevNet to Starknet.js, and what's important, basically Nimbora, which is the idea behind Nimbora is quite simple to make like savings account available to everybody, and with the Starknet tech, we are like aiming to do so.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, so indeed you are a very important member of the Starknet ecosystem and community. I know that you just came back from ETC. I said hello
Oh yeah,
in the meetings.
yeah.
What are your impressions from ETC and from the Starknet community, the Hacker House?
I mean, it was quite interesting because, like, the bear market-ish like vibes are like all over, but in the like Starknet Hacker House and in the event, it was quite positive. People looking forward and so on. That's why I like this ecosystem. It's like long-term focused on like the things in the future and so on. So we don't need to, be bothered with like short-term things like some others and so on. And there were like a bunch of stuff, like from like payments as one of the biggest things, like native account obstruction and users coming to Starknet again. Obviously there is a less FUD now, which is good for everyone. So I think like the vibe is overall positive. There's a lot of people in the hacker house, like some interesting teams there. I was also a judge, so it was quite interesting to hear some of the new like stuff. I'm really bullish on like new projects coming. And obviously, Starknet CC is always like a family gathering with new friends and family, and getting larger and so on. So yeah, it's a special feeling. I like feels like the Ethereum Foundation back in the day, to be honest. Like, yeah.
Wow, great. Yeah. It's really amazing to go there and see everyone just focused on building and like
Exactly.
mapping what's missing for us.
Exactly.
A very good feeling. So yeah, maybe you can give us high level view of Nimbora. What is it, and specifically how it evolved since the last time you introduced it here?
Absolutely. Let's start with the problem. So, like, we usually when you use DeFi or like when you want to use it, you need the PhD, which means that you need to know what is doing this, what is doing that, and so on. And the whole kind of like the thing that Nimbora wants to do to make it simple. So imagine a savings account you have on Revolut or some like neobank or like bank that you have usually. What's the issue with that? Well, you deposit money into there, and then something happens, and they're custodian your like assets and so on, and you never know what will happen with it. We're seeing with FTX and with Celsius, when you have custodians, it's not really the great user experience, especially when the market goes down. So, the assets can disappear or get locked and so on. So imagine that we can bring this seamless interaction with DeFi. You can kind of get the savings account fully on-chain, fully decentralized, but still that the gas fees are negligible, because one of the next frontiers, in our opinion, would be to enable Web2 kind of experience, but fully decentralized and on-chain. That's kind of what Nimbora is trying to do. And for now, like the feedback is pretty good. So like the users like it, it's simple, but one of the things we don't want to cross is like this custodian way of the things the others are doing. We want to be self-custodial and so on. And Starknet is a deal for this because, native account abstraction, amazing improvements in tech now. Like, just like when I heard about Stu and how like big improvements are going to be, like 100x, like how again, you managed to do it. So like kudos also to Starknet team for that. It's like really, Starknet has always been on the edge of the possible. And that's why we are building on Starknet and using like Starknet to scale this. And, like we want to build the Nimbora as a like fully decentralized savings account on chain. And the Starknet is the best home for that. So that's kind of it. And what we kind of changed from last time, obviously we had kind of like borrowing and so on. We introduced the earn program, so you can just deposit the assets and so on, and you can kind of use them that way, so you can passively earn using Nimbora. And there are like some like big announcements also in the future that we can discuss a bit later, the plans and so on.
Wow. Yeah, great. I think that as a person from Starknet, it's really amazing to see all the projects develop with time, and when Starknet capabilities grow, their capabilities grow very soon after that. So it's a nice evolution game. So maybe you
Absolutely.
can double click into what users can actually do on their saving account with Nimbora. Like, is it just managed for them? Do they define strategies? How does it work?
Sure. So for now, basically, it's curated strategies because, like, for now, we kind of create the strategy specifically for the users. So depending what you want to get exposure to. So, like, let's say just a normal user. I would just want to have like DAI or USDC or USDT. I don't want to risk buying like risky assets. Well, we have a strategy for that. Obviously, the simplest one and the lowest risk is the Spark. The DSR of Spark, where you invest there and you get kind of returns on that. And then on the more degen side, or the more like riskier side, we have LRTs like EtherFi and so on, where you can invest and get additional points and stuff. But the whole kind of point is, with one click from Starknet, all this is possible and you don't have to think about anything. So what happens under the hood is actually quite interesting, because I think Louis or somebody from the Starknet team also like invented DeFi pooling, or at least kind of coined the term and went into that direction. But the idea is quite simple and quite amazing. You have L2, which is kind of behaving like a coprocessor of Ethereum, like Starknet scaling Ethereum execution. How? On Starknet, we have vaults. We aggregate user deposits. Let's say I want to invest into Spark. I have 10 DAI. You want to invest into Spark, you have 100. And somebody else has like I don't know, like 90. So we have 200. But there was also somebody who already did invest and wants to, spend money on the holidays or whatever, or his wife asked for, I don't know, she needs to like buy some new shoes or something. So he wants to kind of take the money out. We match that locally on Starknet, and then just the delta of that, we shuttle to the Stargate on mainnet, deposit into strategy, and get basically, like yield generating assets for the user. So user doesn't see bridges, doesn't see any complexity of our Starknet. Only thing you do is basically Starknet wallet and some assets on it, and that's it. And in the future, ideally, when we have better on-ramps on Starknet, it can be fully like Web2 based, like, because we can abstract gas fees, we can with Paymaster and so on, users can kind of have on their mobile phones this kind of experience, which feels and looks like a Web2 thing, but it's actually fully decentralized. So that's kind of it. And then obviously in the future, staking, is one of the main things that's coming to Starknet is Stark staking, which I think is a great thing, not just for earning money. Obviously, that's a kind of a side thing, but because the Starknet is finally getting decentralized. So we're talking about this thing for like years now. Oh yeah, like it needs to get decentralized and so on. And now finally, basically, it's becoming a reality. And this will make it fully kind of like production ready, in my opinion, because now when Starkware is not the ones only running sequencers and provers, but you actually have the community participating and doing this. It's basically resistant to censorship and everything else. So we can actually truly scale this to the global level. And with Stu and other stuff, maybe even to the masses. Maybe like the mass adoption is around the corner. So I'm bullish on that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like the adoption is growing in the entire ecosystem, right? Not only Starknet, which is very positive.
Exactly.
And we'll touch staking and sync in very details a bit later. But I'd just love to see, get your perspective. Obviously, Nimbora sounds like a very good strategy for people that are new to the DeFi ecosystem, right? I don't want to have a lot of obstacles. So what's your take on it, right? Like, what measures have you taken with Nimbora to make it UX friendly and not frightening, and reduce those barriers for a non-Web3 people?
I mean, it's quite simple. Like, when you think about what you as a user want, you want basically, you have some assets and you want to earn maximum money on it, but maybe you're not comfortable with high risk. Maybe you want a lower risk thing or something. That's basically what Nimbora does. It curates, okay, this strategy is low risk, it gives you a bit less return, but it's less risky, and this one basically gives you higher, and so on. There are complex strategies in the background, things like looping, going to mainnet, harvesting rewards and so on, but users are abstracted from all of those things, because if you already know how to do those things, you're probably arbitrage or something, you're an advanced user, so you don't need that. And with Nimbora, all those kind of things are abstracted. but still their own chain. So you can kind of verify them and so on and see where the assets are and that you can kind of validate them. But yeah, like again, like Starknet is the home because of the scale of the tech and the maturity of it. So and ZK obviously is the future. So no OP rollups on this thing on this side.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I'd love if you can and expand a bit more. Like I saw recently that you launched the Stark vaults. Can you expand a bit more on what is it and why it's exciting?
Sure. So when you think about like savings DAI, why is it so magical? Because you don't really know what's going on under the hood. Like you don't know which specific strategy each DAI goes to, but on average you get this returns, and on average basically this is how you earn money. The idea with Stark is for the users who want to hold Stark, who believe basically Stark will be a big thing, that we believe basically that will go like long term, will be sustainable and so on, is that we can optimize multiple strategy for you that you don't have to think about. So there are a couple of phases. Like obviously this is a Genesis phase where we are like attracting the early users to kind of like join the savings strategy. Obvious next step would be when staking comes, that we optimize, like that you get some LSD exposure to that. So like you basically can automatically, when you participate in saving Starks, you automatically participate in staking. So you get basically base yield from there, which will go anywhere. We'll see like in production, but we expect around 5, 6, maybe even like higher percent. And then on top of that, what you can get, which is a differentiator from like other LSDs, you will get additional strategies that you can choose to opt in. So you have kind of like the levels. Okay, I can just do LSD, that's fine. I get like 5%, and I don't want like risky stuff. Or you can also do looping, where you can kind of leverage the position like a couple of times, and then have a higher like rewards, let's say 10, 15% instead of 5, but it's basically higher risk. So we want to curate it for the users, so from those who are like really, really don't want to mess with their thing and just want to hold it and want to expose to that, to the other side, which is completely on the degen side, let's call it like that. So we want to offer basically this kind of range of products that is actually basically saving Stark. So you as a user can choose which risk profile you present, and we automate basically everything for you.
Wow, very impressive. So that means that basically
when you think about it, it's a UX thing. It's a convenience thing, because you can also go stake. You can also go on lending market, on money market, and do something. But if it's automated, then we track basically that your portfolio is not liquidated, that your portfolio is healthy, that that you basically, we manage this for you. It's kind of a convenience thing. So, and users obviously like that. I mean, I think we just crossed like 10 million, TVL on Starknet, so we are close to that. So, it's been pretty good on that front.
10 million on Nimbora, I mean, not on Starknet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. on Nimbora. So yeah. Like 10 million on Starknet, would be a small number. So yeah.
Well, exciting social to pass. So if I understand correctly, you'll allow people from Nimbora to actually participate in Starknet staking, right? That's
exactly. So like that's on the, and then you'll be able to choose basically which, like we'll offer also basically like LSD on our side, because like we built like in the past like other LSD protocols like Light on Polygon, which is biggest basically on Polygon, like before like switching to Starknet. So we know how to do these things and scale, like it was like a couple of $100 million protocols. So we know what everything basically entangles and how much work there is. And then on the other side, we want to also offer what Yearn offers on top of that. So it has like advanced strategy on top of it. So it's basically, again, a convenience tool for somebody who is coming to Starknet, who wants passively manage basically position, to just join the saving Stark and choose basically their risk profile, and then we optimize basically it for them.
And like, can people expect this saving Stark to be launched immediately after staking is alive, right? Because just full context for viewers, staking will be live only for 2 months. I know of like scam sites that allow you to do it already. So don't be fooled by this discussion. It might take a few months. So Stark will be a live just visit. That's the plan.
So there are a couple of things. Basically, we can already with Stark do strategies like like on money markets, we can do looping and those kind of things. So we can offer you leverage. And then when like staking comes, we'll add that as a basic layer to it. So you can kind of use it also just like staking, or you can use basically also the leverage on that and so on. So the phase, basically, that's why we are calling this Genesis. We are just using the Stark directly. We are not using the stake Stark or whatever, like LSD will be like bring down that like staking. And then in the future, we'll switch the strategy to be underlying will be like staked Stark, and then on top of all these things and so on. So you'll be able to choose basically what you want to do with.
Wow, very exciting. So this seems like very exciting plans for the next, I don't know, 4 to 6 months. But what are your like long-term vision / plans for Nimbora? Where do you plan to take this amazing idea?
Look, like it's going to become Robinhood of Web3, like fully self-custodial Robinhood, where you can kind of go and join DeFi. But when you think about regulation, like currently now regulation is not really prone to, stablecoins are kind of regulated. You have EU regulation, MiCA, which is not regulating DeFi. That's kind of the next big thing. And when you talk even with institutional institutions and so on, they really are looking forward to DeFi because DeFi optimizes a lot of like CeFi issues and so on. So in a couple of years, when we reach the scale with the tech, like Starknet will reach a scale where gas fees can be abstracted, where you have like a really good like onboarding experience, where kind of you have a Web2 like mobile wallet account abstraction on your phone, you'll be able to have a savings account like for the whole world like easily like this, and then fully abstracting the gas fees and abstracting the chain. Actually, on the conference, there was a couple of guys. I wear Nimbora kind of shirt like swag, and some people like, oh, great product. I was like, okay, nice. Did you use? Yeah, my wife used it, and she put some money. On which chain is it? I was like, okay, that's really interesting because if you don't even know the tech under the hood, when we achieved something, because if you abstract if you don't have to sell, like a cult, oh, this is the best tech because X and Y. No, because users use it, then we achieved what basically we aimed, and that's what we want to do with this. So like that Nimbora is this kind of a front end for DeFi, but still has to be convenient and user friendly.
Wow. Yeah, very impressive. I totally agree that our goal is to have people that are just agnostic to the fact that it's Starknet.
Exactly.
And I think we have great features that allow it. I have some questions I saved for the end around like your like look and perspective from like the position of a Starknet builder on how things go. So if you want to say anything more about Nimbora, that's the chance before we like change the subject.
Sure. So like inviting basically everybody to join on Discord to kind of like join us to test it and so on. The idea on the Nimbora side is also decentralize the stack. So in a couple of months, we'll switch to fully mainnet, which will enable anybody to launch a strategy. So you as a developer on Starknet will be able to launch the strategy easily. And even if you know just Solidity, you'll be able to launch new integrations in just like 40 or 50 lines of code. So this way we'll try to create an ecosystem around it. And then for the users, obviously follow us. We have announcement like weekly or bi-weekly, like almost like every week now. We're trying, maybe we'll have a bit break in the August because of the vacations, but yeah, we'll continue shipping and stuff. And, give us your feedback, what you're missing, what you want to use and so on. And then integrating all the sealed assets down the road into the Starknet, into the DEXs, into the money market. So instead of just having base assets like they are now, like USDC, USDT, Stark and ETH, which don't generate yield by design, that we focus on the more generating yield size, like stake Stark, staking of ETH, other like yield generating stables. So like by design, Starknet becomes a hub for scaling, not even just like Ethereum L1, but also Bitcoin L1, because that's one of the magics that's going to happen in some time. Hopefully, if Cat gets merged relatively soon, because Starknet will be, in my opinion, the best hub to scale both things and still make it really convenient and cheap. And I don't know what else anybody needs to join Starknet. It's a no-brainer basically to join and start building.
Wow, yeah. Yes, like with every month that passes, I'm a bit more excited about
exactly. It's like
it's not always been like that. It's over the past 4 or 5 months, it's like that.
Yeah, exactly. There are always downtimes and upsides and so on, but with all this, like, it was amazing. Like first, like Bitcoin, okay, we're going Starknet is like scaling that way, and then the stew, and I feel like every 2 months you reinvent your guys yourself and you like create something magnificent. So like it's maybe I'm a geek, I am, but that's what like makes me happy also.
Okay. Yeah, I have one last question about like your perspective on the ecosystem. In the meantime, if you have any questions from home that you'd like me to continue ask after, feel free to write them here in the chat. I see quite a few, but I'm not sure which ones we've answered already. So please repose the questions if you have them. So, like you explained a lot on Nimbora, but I want to ask you on the development process of it, right? First, if I'm a developer, as a like very veteran member of our community, where do you suggest me to start, and how can I get involved? And secondly, can you give maybe a few words on the work you had with the foundation and how much it supported you, and maybe how much new developers can hope for support? And not like over the last year, the foundation expanded from like 5-7 people each to 30, and it started to do a whole lot more things. I just look it from the side on Starknet, so I wonder how do you feel it, and how do you think newcomers to the ecosystem would feel it?
I mean, there is so many opportunities, from seed grants to like what amazes me, to be honest, is everybody's approachable. You can ping anybody and they answer. They're like really attentive. They try to help you and so on. And there's really a good process from like DevRels, which help you on onboarding, starting with with just like learning Cairo and getting first step into the later, like on the foundation side, from the business support to growth. What do you need? What help? And that's what I like, because there is no like, oh, I don't have time, or I have to do this or that. It's like so open, and this is not normal thing. This doesn't happen everywhere. So this is the thing. Like that's why I'm like pushing. Even with the hard times, there like some market goes down, token goes down, blah blah blah, whatever. But still, like the amount of support we got, from all the fronts. I mean, even you or anybody basically in Starkware, when we have some crazy idea, we want to hack or something to break something new, you're always like, oh, let's see how we can help and support a foundation. Then again, from all the sorts of stuff, and people care. That's kind of the core important thing here, because it's like for the long run, not focusing on the short term, helping the builders to build and so on. And Starknet is really nascent still. When we think about the blockchain, it's like just now maturing, with the block times, with the maturity of the dev tools and so on. It's now finally maturing to be really production ready, and users are coming back. So I don't know, just come and build things. Just come and build next unicorns, because this is the place to do so.
Yeah, totally. Like when looking on our developer community, and it's so crowded, and now I was really excited by some of the Starknet projects have their own events, right, on ACC. It was a very interesting development, and those events, I didn't manage to go there, unfortunately, but I heard very positive vibes from there.
I did on some. It was really good. And that's the community. That's like usually where we have, like, I won't name names, but let's say this ZK VMs, EVMs, or whatever, L1s, L2s, like it's easy to pivot from one chain to the other. And then what developers team do, they deploy on one chain. If it doesn't work, they deploy on the other, and this other. And I always try to explain to people, Cairo is a bug in a feature, because once you decide to go in, you get so much new improvements. Obviously, there is a friction to get again. You need to learn it and so on. But you open another dimension of what you can do. And that's kind of the difference between not just doing forks, but we can innovate and so on. I mean, Nimbora is one of those things. It hasn't been built anywhere else. Actually, now we're just finally starting to see some others, like building something similar, which is amazing, because we started something that's going to potentially be one of the standards in cross-chain scaling, and doing stuff across chains and so on. Like the whole Ethereum ecosystem is still nascent, and Starknet is still early. So if you want to bet on something, Starknet is a good place to do so. So especially with all the community builders maturing, now into their own products. I don't know, I need to stop, but it's so exciting that these things are evolving so fast. So
yeah, I get what you mean, because I think that until 6 to 12 months ago, we're in a position where every 3 months other thing broke, and we were still developing this technology, and now it's stable and ready. And I see that people just moving forward without having to get back every 2 months, and then it's really getting the powers from it.
Exactly, but it's normal, the whole kind of pipeline of Starknet Alpha and then moving. I think we joined more than 3 years ago, pre-mainnet. I remember everything was really rusty, but that's why you go through the phases. That's why I really believe now is the time to get into kind of this and start building and scaling.
Yeah. Okay. Very exciting to have this conversation with you. We have one question from the crowd, since I gave my permission to ask questions. So that's what will Nimbora look like in 5 years?
So you won't even know that you're using Nimbora, but it will be on every phone and it will be your savings account. So basically, it will be behind every wallet, behind basically every, wherever you are, Nimbora basically will be your place you kind of earn with. But the idea is not that you have to know about Nimbora. You don't have to specifically go to Nimbora. You don't have to specifically go to Starknet. You're just going to use it like you use your some mobile app and so on. It's going to be there. And that's when we achieve the thing, because when people don't have to know, oh, I need to go here, I need to click this, I need to download this. There's so many friction points still. When we polish them and when it's natively on your phone, and when DeFi becomes mainstream, and basically hopefully we manage to convert like masses, that's where basically Nimbora becomes the successful, when people don't even know they're using it, but they're actually just using it for savings.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all. I've done tossing you. So thanks a lot for this, and looking forward to see how Nimbora develops too.
Thanks for having me, and it was always a pleasure. So I hope I wasn't too bombastic with stuff. Sometimes get that, but I'm really hyped about this. I think Starknet is on a trajectory of exponential growth, and like now is the time to do it if you are planning to do something. Yeah. Thanks, Ohad, for having me. You're actually quite good for the first space.
Woo! Thanks a lot. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye.